Hello, everybody. Hello, this is Stephen Williams. We are here for our Behind the Veil moment tonight. This is Tuesday, and I'm excited for what we're about to do. You see my guest right there in front of me, and we're going to talk a little bit more about him in a few moments. And I'm excited for him to be here. But tonight, I want you to chime in. I want you to come on in because it's going to be informational when we're dealing with this whole notion of our children and this school. I am Stephen Williams. They call me the good bishop. I don't know. I think Angela started calling me, "What's up, good bishop?" And so it's just starting to stick. But I'm excited to be here. Y'all know how we do. We're going to do the song of the week. And this song is befitting because it comes off of the Grace Project, the Grace Factor, the Grace Project with me and Mitchell Goldsmith. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to have to do what this song says. We're going to have to trust him until he comes through. So I pulled this particular song. So we're going to play just a smidgen of it. And then we're going to get out of here because I can't wait to hear what this young man is going to say. Come on.
No matter what it look like, no matter what it feel like, we don't see a way, but we don't have a choice. So no matter what it look like, no matter what it feel like, we don't see a way, but we don't have a choice. So yeah, obstacles that are in the way to everything that God has planned. Giving up feels like the easy way, but on His word we will stand. No matter what it look like, no matter what it feel like, we don't have a choice. So until He comes, what? No matter what it look like, no matter what it feel like, we don't have a choice. So until He comes through, come on, we gon' trust Him. Can't nobody do it like my God. Until He comes through, we gon' trust Him. Nobody like Him until He comes through. I know you feel like God's not there with everything that you're going through. Hey, but the God has said He will be there. He will do what He said He will do. Oh, good God Almighty, what are we gonna do, y'all? Until can't nobody do me like this, and we gonna touch them.
It's good stuff, Walter.
It is. That's off the latest one?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Got another one coming out though.
Okay.
We gonna trust Him until He comes through. Come on, clap your hands in this building. Come on, clap your hands. The God that we serve is mighty. He's powerful. And what God is saying is that you must believe in Him. Trust Him and do not doubt. He will come through. And so we say to you in this place, you gotta believe His word. You gotta believe. Oh, His word receive. Gotta believe everything in the book.
Okay.
His word receives. Said He will come through for you. Oh, get His word. And then you got to hold on. Ow. I said hold on. Cause He will come through for you. Hold on. Oh, don't you dare
This is where the DJ get ready to pull it down. Because that's what we have to learn how to do. We gonna have to learn how to hold on.
Hold on.
because he will come through. So that's our big thing. Again, Stephen Williams here, and I am so excited tonight to have somebody that I've been known for a good little while, but we didn't know each other in this kind of capacity. He is his bio, his brother, doctor, elder. I don't even know. Do you have a lot of titles and stuff? You elder, bishop, prophet, none of
No,
that. It's
no.
just regular. Walter M. Johnson Jr. is in the room tonight. He is a native of Raleigh, North Carolina, and currently he lives in Kernersville with his college sweetheart. Is it Janetta? Janetta Robinson Johnson, and their two beautiful daughters. Walter received his bachelor's degree in middle grades education from Winston-Salem State University. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Master's degree in school administration from Appalachian State. I'll give you a yes on that. And his EDS, educational specialist degree from East Carolina University. So this guy is really down in the trenches with all of this education stuff. He has 19 years of experience in public education, 6 years as a middle grade math teacher. Who knew? 13 years as a school administrator. He currently serves as the assistant principal of Walkertown High School. Most recently joined the adjunct faculty of Winston-Salem State University Department of Education. You go. Walter enjoys imparting into the lives of young people, and in his free time, along with his wife, they enjoy helping change the lives of others. And there are two home-based businesses. We may get into that, but I know him also. He didn't put that in his bio, but he is a choir director extraordinaire, choir dude, and he likes to do all that good stuff. And so I want everybody to just welcome him to Behind the Veil. Thank you, sir. How are you today?
I'm great. As I mentioned earlier, a little tired because we were busy today. Teachers returning back officially today, so just a little tired, but I'm doing okay.
Good. What made you? This is not on our questions, but
that's all right.
Want to get into the administration side and not do the teaching side piece
anymore? I think it was maybe my 5th year of teaching. I began to hunger for something different. I wanted to remain in education, but I kept saying to myself, "It's more to it than this." Gotcha. And there are other ways that I can have an influence on children, students outside of teaching. So that's what made me start researching administration.
All right, I appreciate that, man. I love that. That's a beautiful thing. Listen, I am completely excited tonight. I am completely excited because I really want to know. We have so many questions with this pandemic. And I know you all were kind of caught off guard last year when this stuff happened and you really didn't have time to prepare. And so how is that preparation going right now? And so tonight we're talking about our children going back and back into this, at least 9 weeks we are online right now. And so we want to just chat about this. What should the parents expect, for those first 9 weeks? What's really happening? And I know you mentioned earlier that stuff is changing on a regular basis. So, talk to us.
Well, I think let me say, parents, I hope they understand. And if they don't understand, they should see once we get started within this 9 weeks. But what happened, the transition that happened in the spring back in March is going to be totally different than what they will see this 9 weeks.
Okay.
That turnaround time happened within a week's, maybe less than that, a couple of days, where teachers had to grab things and try to restructure how they were teaching, learn how to do everything virtually. It was a big, quick turn. However, for this particular situation that we're in now, teachers have had the opportunity to learn. They have had the time to gather things, resources together and start planning ahead of things. And not only teachers, the admin, because we have been in spinning around as well, just like the teachers have. So I think that parents would be very much pleased. I know they want their child or children back in the building, and we want that too in due time. But I think they will be very, very much satisfied with what we have to offer, the school has to offer for this 9 weeks or however long it goes.
What is that going to look like?
So obviously it's virtual, and the teachers will be holding class sessions by way of either Zoom or meeting Teams, Microsoft Teams, which is another platform similar to Zoom. The teachers, and I can really mainly speak for high school, and I'll touch on elementary and middle school, what I think, but I know in high school, for all my high school parents, those teachers have to design a lesson where they are speaking directly to those students for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. Now in high school, they have block schedules. We have block schedules. So it's a total of 90-minute class. It's a 90-minute class period. So they have to have 45 minutes of synchronous instruction. Wow. Synchronous where I'm like we're doing right now. It's not necessarily, those 45 minutes doesn't necessarily have to be total talking. It could be me asking a question or giving you something to work on for a minute, respond to that, and then we go back into our discussion about whatever I'm teaching. And then after those 45 minutes, it could be anything that the teacher, it could be some type of classwork assignment or group assignments. The good thing with some of these things that we have, Zoom and Microsoft Teams, is that they have breakout rooms to where teachers can place students in certain rooms to work on things if that's what they want to do. So I could take you and 5 other students, y'all can go work in a group, and I can go continue to monitor them as I would do in the classroom.
Wow.
Yeah. Now,
so in your case, the teachers have to have 90 minutes?
45 minutes of synchronous.
Constant teaching.
Yes.
And then after that 45 minutes, is there a break?
No break, 45 minutes of asynchronous. So that's the opportunity to where I'm not necessarily talking. I'm just observing, checking your work, giving you some work to work on, or some problems to work on, depending on what I'm teaching. But I'm still available, just like I would be available in the classroom. So if the students are working on something, then they can always come to me and say, hey, Mr. Johnson, I'm not understanding this. Can you help me? I'm just because I'm finished doing my 45 synchronous instruction, that doesn't mean I just cut it off and I'm done for the day. No, I have to remain there, remain present, so that I can address any issues, concerns, questions that students might have.
Wow.
And I'm also reading the chat as well during that time, because students might want to, ask questions in the chat as well. So, yeah, I think, like I said, it's going to be totally different than what happened in March. The school system has created a remote learning plan. And within that plan, just for the viewers that are on, you are more than welcome to check out that plan, because it is posted on the school website, school district website. Now it's about 34 pages. So in your off time, in your free time, or you might want to read 2 or 3 pages a day until you can get it through and be able to dissect it. But within that remote plan, there are requirements that teachers have to uphold throughout this process. And then not only teachers, there are requirements that students have to uphold as well. Let me go back to, that's for high school. The plan is for the whole district, but that 45 minutes is for high school. Yes. I think in elementary, and I could be wrong on this because I'm not directly in touch with the elementary K-5 or 6-8 school, but I think they are required, my K-5 or K-2, they are required to have synchronous instruction for 25 minutes. So opposed to the high school, for the 90-minute block, we have 45, but then on those lower levels, it's not quite as long. Number one, because they are teaching different subjects. So for the math, I got to have 25 minutes of the synchronous instruction and then some other stuff. And then when I go back and teach English, I got to have 25 minutes of synchronous instruction and then whatever else that goes with it. And so on for science and other things.
So let me see if I get this. So let's say my class starts 8:30. Well,
All
okay.
right.
What time class started? 8 o'clock? I don't know.
Well, high school starts at 8:55.
8:55. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So let's say 9 o'clock, just to
Uh-huh.
make it easy for me. So 9 o'clock, um, from 9 o'clock to 9:45, I'm teaching. Just constantly. Then at 9:45, the the students then break out, or they're doing homework, but I'm still, or they're doing work or assignments, but
Right.
I'm still available for them
Correct.
in the chat. And they do that for another 45 minutes,
Correct.
right? Then
Yes.
they get I will assume there's a break then.
So
So
after
what
that
happens
time,
after that?
just like if they were in regular school, we have the same schedule. So from if the class ends at 10 o'clock, then at
Mhm.
10:05, you are expected to be in the next meeting for your next class.
Got you.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you do that up until there is a lunchtime.
There is a lunchtime, right? And the good thing about what we're doing, when we're in the brick and mortar, we have different lunches, first lunch, second lunch, third lunch. But while we're in plan C and probably plan B, whenever we get to that point,
Right.
while we're in that, everybody's going to have the same lunchtime.
What time
So
is
if
the
lunch is from 12 to 12 to 12:30, and I'm not sure because each school was actually able to schedule it a little differently.
Okay, good deal.
So if our lunch is from 12 to 12:30, then everybody in the school is having lunch at that time. And so at 12:35, you are expected to be logged into your next teacher's class for work.
Are
The
y'all taking roll?
take and roll. I'm glad I was getting ready to hit that. Yes. So like or unlike what we did in the spring, okay, um, we can say, I'm trying to be safe here.
Be
We
safe.
can, we can, I don't know how much attendance was taking because again, it was the predicament that we were in at that
Right, right,
time.
right.
However, we are taking attendance daily. And you are expected to be in class on time, but we'll give you that time slot, probably about 5 to 10 minutes. If you're not in there by that time, then there are consequences that might happen, that could happen. Just like if you're tardy for class in brick and mortar, if you're
Right.
tardy for class on Microsoft Teams or in Zoom, then that teacher, and if it needs to be that admin, will be contacting your parents to try to find out what's going on. Now, we do understand that there might be some technology issues, and we'll work around that. It's not going to be, we'll slam you down if you're not on there. We understand problems arise. You know, with us today, with problems arise. So we get that. We get that. And we're able to work around that. I think another good positive thing about it is that Dr. Harrison has allowed us within the first 2 weeks of class, we're going to have lesson plans and we're going to be teaching, but we also have that opportunity at time period to make sure that students are accustomed to whatever technology we're using. So if we're using Microsoft Teams or Zoom, and Canvas, which is a new program that the school system is using, we have that period of time to get everyone acclimated to our expectations for that. We know that that first day, maybe that first week is going to be crazy with
Right.
people trying to learn the system, especially the students and then the parents.
And the parents.
The
Right.
parents, everybody is not technology savvy. So we get that. So we're grateful for that opportunity that she has given us. I think I'm sure many teachers have probably expressed that concern to her or to the admin team, the higher ups about that. So we're grateful that that's going to happen.
So that leads me to homework and testing.
Okay.
How will homework, or will you be assigning those things? So let's go back to brick and mortar. What
Okay.
made it interesting is that the kids brought home homework, or they had homework assignments. And then there are tests, there are quizzes. Now I know we are in this first 9 weeks, which is really technically not a lot of time, but there's a whole lot that goes on between August, and that's at the end of October.
Right.
And so I'm at the middle of October. So you're talking that there's plenty of time. I remember when I was in school, there was plenty of time for them teachers to drop tests, y'all to drop tests on people like me. And I wasn't ready.
Not you, Bishop Williams.
Yes. Yes. Teachers would drop them tests on you. You don't even know. You don't know. So how is that going to happen in this kind of environment? And because this is also, to me, the same concept is because now you have this parent that is trying to figure out how to navigate with this child. And
Right.
we won't even talk about if the parent is not there. And you all have to have high school students who have to navigate this themselves because the parent is having to go back to work. Everybody just doesn't have the opportunity to do that. So I'm just curious, what is that thought process with test, quiz, and all that, especially on the high school level?
Just like brick and mortar, the expectation remains the same.
Gotcha.
There will be homework for teachers, and I'll be honest with you, there are some teachers who do not require homework because of home environments or situations. They know that some students just don't do well with it because they might have to go home and take care of a sibling. And you know, that's been like that for years. So there are some teachers that don't. And as far as me from the admin standpoint, I think it's up, we place that power in the teacher's hand. They can choose to do that. But if that teacher is requiring homework, then yeah, those students are still required to do it. So Canvas is a program, and I know a little bit about it because in teaching at Winston-Salem State, they were already using it. They've been using it for the past 3 years.
Okay.
And many of the NC schools, universities are using it. So I'm glad to see that the school system has finally picked it up. I don't think Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools is the only system, the only district that's doing it. I think there are several that are or who probably some that have implemented it last year. But within Canvas, you can submit or you can give the assignments to the students. So at the end of my period, I can come on and say, this is your homework. Go into homework 1.3 that's listed under the class. Those are your problems. I expect for them to be done. Submit them to me once you have done. They're due by a certain date. So that you're still able to do that. You're able to give tests with my students at WSSU. So it also applies to the school system. Right. I can say that you have a test on such and such date. I can go in and review before the test. And then I'll say you have 30 minutes to complete the quiz or test, whatever. And the test will be released at a certain time. I can set it up to be released at a certain time of the day. And then I can set it up for it to be cut off at a certain time of the day.
And this
or I can just leave it open. So, you know, if I have no preference, I can leave it open and they continue to work on it all day long. Now, some people are going to be concerned because, you know, they think that people are cheating. But at this point, how can we control that? Well, people cheat. I know I cheated when I was in brick and mortar.
Right.
Things as well. So I mean, people have things you can get around that, but nevertheless, we just want to make sure that it's available for the students.
There was 2 things I was going to make people laugh because I want you to know from my heart, all through my years of schooling, I did not meet one teacher that did not have any sympathy about my home environment. I got homework all the time.
Times have changed. That's a good thing because I can say the same thing.
Times have changed. So in that same context, all right. So I have a friend who's teaching me some stuff, and so is there a plan for the IEP and 504 students, the ones that are actually, I think they need assistance, they need some more help? How does that work in this particular environment?
So with those students who have EC students, those that have IEPs and 504s, obviously by law, we have to make sure that those things are in place. Virtual has nothing to do with the law, because if those students are not receiving those services, then we are held accountable. And I have 3, including my wife, mouths to feed. Yeah. So we're gonna make sure we do what we need to do. There are ways around it with the virtual learning. We can still continue to do pull-outs as we have always done. So for in the brick and mortar, the teacher would go and pull students out of the larger class and would go work with them one-on-one. That still can be done using Microsoft Teams and Zoom. That teacher would just pull those students would log in with that separate teacher and work on individual instruction.
So let me go back. Let me back up.
Okay.
It's something somebody told me I want to unpack. So Canvas is the mechanism by which you will be able to do those tests, those quizzes, that particular system that has a time limit on it for, you can set it up for when you can come in, set it up where you can come out. But that instructional piece is done through Zoom or something else. And then they'll,
right, correct.
So right off the bat, there are going to be at least two systems that the students will have to deal with. One for taking tests and the other for the actual learning.
Correct.
So this is just to our parents, don't get caught with just thinking they should be on Zoom.
Right.
There is another system out here that you want to make sure, because it's going to be important, I think, because that was going to lead me. Somebody asked a question with those IEP or 504 students. Is that outside of the school day that you all will still be working with them, or do you do that within the confinement?
That's going to be within the school day.
Within the school day.
Yes.
And so then that leads me to, it's going to be important because what are the thoughts on the end of the year testing? Because we got 9 weeks, potentially just 9 weeks, right? And we're going to talk about that too, to find out, what barometers we have. But is this going to be something that's going to help with that end of the year testing? Or where are we in North Carolina? Because I know you didn't get an opportunity to do that last year,
No. So let me go back to.
Let's go back.
I'm glad you made the difference, or letting our hearers know, our listeners know the difference between having Canvas and having Zoom or Microsoft Teams.
Yes.
So Canvas will be how they get to the Zoom meeting or the Microsoft Teams meeting.
Okay.
That link will be inside of Canvas, saying that, so if I'm your teacher, I'm going to have the announcements up for this week or for that day or whatever. And it's going to say, to join Mr. Johnson's class, click the link below.
Okay.
It's also going to have, I said announcements. So whatever things that we have planned for the week, whatever topics that I plan on teaching, I'm going to have that listed out. It's so much that you can do within that program.
Oh, wow.
But then in order for you to receive the instruction, you will hit the link inside of Canvas, which will take you to either Zoom or Microsoft Teams, depending on whatever that teacher is using.
Excellent. So there's this big email that you're going to have, that you're going to receive every morning. Now, wait a minute.
You know what? And that is true, because I know from the school system is set up the same way. So when I'm working with my WSSU students, I give them a weekly announcement.
Okay.
And every time I set that weekly announcement up, it's automatically emailed to my students.
Okay, so let's back up. Can we unpack some more?
Okay.
So let's say I have, so basically you're going to have 4 classes. Let's say you're going to have 4 classes. So we're going to get 4 emails basically, because we got 4 teachers, right?
You should. Yeah.
And so let's say we have, so the parents should be looking, you should get that schedule for your child and make sure that that child understands that you can't come in and say, oh, I don't have an email from that class, because that teacher, that next teacher should have another Canvas email for you, even if it's for the week. There should be, if you got 4 teachers in that day, you should have 4 links to get to your assignment.
Get to the assignment. So yeah. You're going to have 4 different Canvas pages.
4 different Canvas pages.
Each teacher will have their own page. So just like with how we see the blocks on Zoom around us. So when
Yes,
you log into Canvas, there are going to be 4
4
blocks,
blocks.
one for each of the teachers.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So if you have Math 2 for first period with Mr. Williams,
Right.
then you click on that one for first period.
You better be in my class.
Right. So and let me say this to parents. From what I was told last week, and hopefully it has not changed as of yet, but from what I was told, parents have to actually go in somehow. The students have to log in into the Canvas program and give their parents permission to be able to log in. They can log in. I mean, I can sit here and tell my daughter, log in, let me see your stuff. But it's a way for them to be able to log in on their own, the parents, to be able to monitor the students' work.
Parents, y'all better do it. So man, this is good information. I don't care what nobody say. You give me good information, because what you're saying is that within that child's Canvas assignment, there is a way for the student to give the parent access so that they can actually see, because that was going to be my concern. If it's online in their email, how can I know what they're working on to keep them on task? And so in that system, we have a way of going in to find out what the assignments are, and then we would have access via our own email, correct?
Right. I'm not, that's not
Maybe.
factual. Yeah.
Maybe.
Possibly.
But the parent can have access to see the assignment. Don't
Correct.
let your children trick you. You can get in there and see those assignments, and you need to in this kind of environment, because there's so many other distractions that could take place.
Correct.
This is virtual learning. That's good stuff, man. So how will all of this, again, let's go back. So how will this 9 weeks affect that end of year testing? And is it going to be something?
Well, I think right now we're at the moment to where we don't know if we're going to be testing or not. The
Gotcha.
only thing that we know for sure, the only test that we know for sure that it will be happening is the PSAT. That's the only communication we have received regarding testing.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it's still up in the air as far as that. Now, you want my personal opinion? This is not the school system. This is my personal opinion.
System.
My personal opinion is that it probably will. I can see it not happening, depending on if we go back the second week, 9 weeks of school, and I just don't. Let me say this for high school. So the way that it's set up, that unless things change, like I said, things change every day. But the way that it is set up is that 9 weeks, if we go to Plan B, high school will still be at home learning virtually.
So what plan are we on right now?
We are on Plan C.
We're on Plan C.
Yes.
And so the trickle down is if we go back to Plan B and then there is a Plan A, I will assume.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So B, the high school students will still be virtual. Is that for everyone, or is that just that?
That's for this district, Winston-Salem, Forsyth County schools.
So right now we in Saints, we in Plan C.
Correct.
If we go back to if we go down or up to Plan B, that's still virtual. That still doesn't get the kids into the school. Correct?
High school.
That doesn't get them into high school.
The high school students will still be at home. The elementary students in middle school, they will return back to the building, but at 50% capacity. So that means they won't be going every day.
What you say?
Right. They won't be going every day.
They will be going like every other day, or 2-3 days,
or two days a week.
2 days a week.
Possibly Monday and Tuesday, and then or Thursday and Friday.
Ooh, the stress on the parents to figure that out, to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know. And the other part to that is that all of the elementary students, the K-5 students, would not be in their normal school building. I think possibly K through second or K through third will remain in their building, And then 4th through 5th will be moved to the middle school building, whatever closest middle school to them. Because again, we have to be only at 50% capacity.
Correct.
So
And so
K
middle
through
school and high school really won't go back to the building.
middle school will go. So this is what will happen. K through 3 will remain in the elementary school. 4th, 5th, and 6th will be in the middle school building. And then 7th and 8th will go to the high school building.
I got it. And the high school will stay home.
Stay home. Correct.
That's the way to be able to get the 50%
Right.
or 50% capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, at least you guys, at least there is a well thought out plan.
Yeah.
For us. I mean, these are just unusual times. And so
right.
It's just unusual times. But I hope this is good information.
I'm glad.
This is really good information. Having said that, what is the barometer to get us back to or up to plan B? Is there one? Are we just monitoring because I'm looking at Georgia, the state of Georgia. They just went to that one picture of the girl. She took that picture and it was full. And somebody told me today that they had to close the school because they there's a lot of cases of that. And so what is the plan here? I mean, is it month by month, day by day? Whatever it is, you know.
I think it's total. Well, that situation in Georgia is crazy. From what I read, and I could be wrong, but from what I read, they didn't even have any type of things in place to execute social distancing.
Yeah,
and I did see a few people with masks, but it wasn't mandatory.
Yep.
So
the governor didn't even mandate that.
Right. So you're asking for trouble. And unfortunately, people ended up being sick. That is crazy. And never mind. So the thing is that I think the superintendents are meeting with the governor. Probably, I don't know if it's daily, weekly, but they are in cahoots with the governor, meetings back and forth. Everything really depends on what he says. And what I mean by what he says is that if he releases the state to go to, I think he just kept us in, what is it?
We still in
stage
two,
phase, whatever it is, for 5 more weeks. Right.
I think we still in, somebody hit me up on the book, but I think we still in phase 2. He would not.
Right.
That's Elder Cooper. That's Reverend Dr. Cooper. That's Elder Cooper. And Elder Cooper said, you're gonna
sit down for 5 more weeks. You ain't ready yet. He said you ain't ready.
He said you ain't ready yet.
You ain't ready.
And so Elder Cooper said you need to sit here. So
you need to be purged for 5 more weeks. You're not ready. Go sit down.
Not ready. Sit down. Elder Cooper said you better sit down and hit his word.
So I think it's Elder Cooper is basing his information off of the data that's coming.
Right.
So the superintendents are not going to move if that data is continuing to rise.
So at this point, right now, we know 9 weeks.
Yes.
So parents, you need to make sure you stay a little bit focused on the news and make sure we're listening to Governor Cooper and make sure we're getting that information, because that's going to be the determining factor as to whether or not your child is home, at least through December.
Yeah, I would say, parents, if you want your children to return to school, please do everything that you're supposed to do as far as social distancing, and make sure that you're encouraging your family members and friends to social distance. As I walk into some stores now and I still see people not covering up, or in big, large groups, going to parties, whatever the case may be. We're asking for COVID to stick around by not doing what we need to do. I think all of us have to make sure that we're doing our part. And as the numbers decrease, then that gives leeway for the school board and the superintendent to allow us to go to that next plan.
Now, this is all, of course, no, we talking now at this point.
Okay.
the well-being as an administrator, the well-being of your teachers, because there are three things I want to get into. Number one, we want to make sure that our teachers are
Mentally,
mentally prepared for this kind of thing.
yes.
Number one. The second thing is I want to know how can parents, because typically we're able to give supplies, but in this case we're not. What can parents do, if anything? And then, since this is behind the veil, and I'll get to your question, Cynthia, since this is behind the veil, is there anything that the church can do? I mean, I'm just a church dude. So y'all, I ain't no club dude. Try to tell y'all that. Even for you people who call me thug out, I'm just a church boy. So there's the three things I want to make sure that our teachers and our administrators mentally, is there something that you all are doing? Because this is really unusual times. These times are just, they can be nerve-wracking. And especially if we go up to plan B, having to get back to school, that whole notion of transmittal, being at home, not feeling safe, blah, 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 blah. And then how can we help? Can parents help? Can the church help?
So the first question, the mental state of teachers, what do we do? And administrators, what do we do? And I can only speak for the believers, but pray a lot.
Gotcha.
It's hard. We are scared. We are just as confused as some of everybody else, because we really don't know what's going to happen, or if it's going to work, or whatever the case may be. But we are continuing to be as positive as possible and believe that we're going to come out on top with the plans that we have in place, that the district has put in place. There are some teachers and some administrators that are probably seeking counsel just to stay on top of it. And I'm sure you believe the same way that I do. It is nothing wrong with going to counseling.
I believe the same way you believe. If you can't get it, you better go sit down and let somebody help you get it for you.
I'm trying to tell you.
I'm trying to help you. I
Right.
got somebody who've administered that to me. Ain't nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong at all.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little counseling. If
you can pray and counsel.
Yeah,
go get both of them.
Whatever you do, don't be coming up in here looking and being any kind of way. Go talk to some.
So as far as mental capacity, personally for myself, I try to stay prayed up as much as possible, and not allow these things to stress me out, because ultimately it is out of my hands.
Right.
And I'm at the will of God. So what happens. I just work around it.
So there's a question while you're doing that. There's a question that says, will they have time of keeping those pre-K teaching those pre-Ks to social distance and keeping their masks on? That's an interesting, because I hadn't thought about that concept of the pre-K versus the elementary school. Is it just for the elementary that we're dealing with versus pre-K that you know of as an administrator?
So I think pre-K is returning within the school system. So that teacher is going to require that the students wear a mask all day. If it's anything like my youngest daughter, she had or has to wear a mask all day. When she goes to lunch, that is the only time that they take the mask off. And I'm assuming that they're going to be the classes are going to be separated, or the students are going to be spread out so that they're not on top of each other while they're eating.
But they are going back, is what you're saying. The pre-K.
I'm trying. My wife is trying to tell me something. I'm like, what?
Go ahead.
Because she's in the elevator.
Go ahead. Tell her. Talk to her.
Oh, okay. So I'm wrong. Hey,
okay.
Pre-K is not coming back.
Okay. Good
to
deal.
the building.
Good deal.
To the building. They're not coming
okay.
back. So I apologize. That was wrong.
No. I mean, tell her we just getting our information. We need you. I mean, this is very, very, very important information, and I think people we just need to target this. So that's good. Please, saints, pray for your teachers. Please pray for your administrators, and then pray for yourself, because you now are home. I'm going to ask the person, what's the superintendent? I need to know, can I get a check? Because I've become a teacher at home. And I can't get no check, no check.
You can get that stimulus whenever they vote it, whenever they vote on it.
I want to teach a check.
But you know, I hear people saying that a lot, and this is not you, but I hear and I read about
I'm
people
joking.
complaining. I know you are. I know you are. But I want those people to understand that teachers are working hard behind the scenes. They are working harder with virtual learning than what they did when we were in brick and mortar. So they deserve every penny that they get. Plus,
I was going to say, in your experience, because teachers really have a different kind of longevity, are the older teachers struggling with this whole notion of this virtual teaching? You know,
they're retiring.
Jokers are saying, I'm out, I'm done. You know, because I think me and my sister, I don't know if my sister's on here, and we had a teacher, she was her teacher, she was my mama teacher. I was like, she never go nowhere. She taught the whole time. No,
taught the whole family.
For the whole family. She taught us all. But teachers really do love what they do. So once you find your purpose, it's most of the time, my daughter's just singing like I ain't doing nothing on this thing, okay? She said, Lord Jesus, somebody help me. And so, but they stay a long time. And I was just curious as to whether or not, you know, they are having a little struggle with this electronic piece.
For those, and I'm sure they are having. I can't hear on my end.
You can't hear her.
No, I can't hear her.
Just singing away.
But I'm sure that it is an adjustment for everybody.
Right.
But for the older seasoned teachers who probably have about 2 more years left, I'm sure they are struggling, but they're probably relying on those younger teachers to teach them through. And it should be a mindset within every school that we are a team. So if I have a teacher who is struggling with Canvas or Zoom, Microsoft Teams, then I should be there to help that teacher to teach them. Because just like it's a struggle for that teacher, it's going to be a struggle for your students too. So you might as well practice and help that teacher out. Because you're getting ready to have a whole lot more situations, problems with your student.
So let's deal with that. What can the parents do? Let's kind of because we're doing. I mean, a lot of us are having to. I'm very fortunate. All right, I'm very fortunate to work for a university, and I'm not going back at least through December. Okay, so I am here, but I want to make sure that I'm doing my part as a parent to help my child and to help this teacher because usually I just send my child to y'all and y'all handle it. And then we have a problem. Then I go and we deal with the problem. Now we're having to figure out how can we be of assistance, like really give us some meaty things that parents need to do or should be doing while these kids are home. And let me not say this for parents too. Let me say this: if you're an auntie and maybe you've got to step in, you know, maybe you're a grandparent and maybe you got to step in because somebody else has got to work. Listen, right now, this is the village. Everybody is going to have to help this situation. It's not just the parent. If you're an uncle, if you have free time, we need everybody on board. Because especially, and I hate to do this, I hate to say this on this particular platform, but especially our brown and Black babies. Look, if we don't do something to assist right now, we're already fighting an uphill battle, and we need to make sure we're doing our part. That's uncle, auntie, whoever you are. We need your help. And so,
well, I think you just said it. I think you said it. We have to do our part. And I'm talking about I'm not speaking from the minute, I'm speaking from a parent.
From a parent.
We have to do our part and make sure that we are doing everything we need to do so that our children are successful. So that
Unpack
means,
that. So let's
okay,
unpack that. Give me something that
so
we should do.
that means if I need to sit down with my child and run through the directions on how they need to log in, what they need to do, give them, maybe I need to write down the steps for them. And again, practice how you do this. This is the expectation of that you need to do every day. This is how you get to that teacher's classroom. This is how you get here. This is what time you need to be there. I think routine, keep going over it and over, and pretty much this is what is going to be going on within those teachers classes too. They're going to keep drilling the routines over and over again. But, and I was going to say this earlier, but I got sidetracked. Teachers can only do but so much. It has to be done at home as well. We have to work together, the school and the parents. We're here for your child. You need to be there for your child as well. It doesn't all just fall on the teacher. So while we're practicing those routines with them, you need to be doing that as well. And I think about too, there are probably going to be some students who don't have anybody at home.
Right.
And then which might cause them not to even log in. The school system has created a CARES team.
Okay.
So each school has a CARES team. CARES is an acronym that stands for coronavirus. I can't remember the name of it. I don't have it directly in front of me. It's new. This will be the first year for it.
Okay.
So that team will have a coordinator at each school along with teachers and support staff. All right. So if a teacher is seeing that their student or students are not responding, are not involved, or not logging on to do work or for the instruction, then that teacher will automatically try to get in contact with that parent. But if that's not working, that parent, that teacher will then report it to student services, the guidance counselors. And they would do whatever they need, or a social worker, they would need to do whatever they need to do to try to pull those students in. And then if that is not working, then they would report that to the CARES coordinator, who would take it to the next level of trying to reach out if it takes a home visit, whatever the case may be. But going over there and talking to the parents and find out exactly what's going on, talking to the student, finding out what's going on. So that's another way that we are trying to make sure that everybody stays on track. Everybody is logged in. The goal of the district is to have 100% of their students logged in working virtually. So that was a way that the district put in place, or idea that the district put in place to try to keep everybody logged in and working.
Oh, that's good.
I sidetracked that.
No, that's good. But that's good, because I think that's a part of the helping, that's another avenue, so that the parents will, or if something is happening, so that the child doesn't fall through the crack. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Figuring out a way so that that the child doesn't fall through the crack. Because I think as a parent, as a leader, as a Black man, I want to make sure that we give people, again, especially our people, we need to give them the best opportunity for education as much as we possibly can. And this situation is just very, very interesting. It's just a new dynamic. And so we're going to have to pick up the pieces and do something that's totally different,
Yeah. So let me go back to a question you asked about the church.
Yes.
What can the church do? Now, obviously, the church can't come to the school because we're not letting any visitors in. But I think that if you have a ministry within the community of the schools, or, even if your church is not in a community and you want to go on another side to another community, I think this is the opportunity for churches to really do outreach and pull families in. Right now, we don't have the building, or we do have the building, but everybody's not able to come into the building.
Correct.
This is the perfect opportunity to show the community exactly what your ministry is about. And I'm not just talking about what we're doing online, you having your online service, that's good and everything. But that still won't attract that won't attract the same people that wasn't coming to inside of your building. You
Let's
want
talk.
to be able to reach those
Yeah.
people that were not coming in your building. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to go into those communities. Now, I'm not telling you to go to the houses because I
Right.
want you to be safe. But there are a lot of kids that are going to go hungry, um, or will not have access to things. It's good to go into those communities and possibly feed. If your church is in the financial place to be able to do that, it doesn't take much to cook hot dogs.
Who would we need to, would they need to contact the principals? I mean, what does that look like? Because you all will be doing a lunch, right? Or
So
no, it
yeah,
won't be a lunch because the kids will be, so you're saying utilize maybe the school system, or maybe let's say Williams Project, if Williams Project, you go there and you have a feeding at from 12 to 1 or whatever the case may be, or whatever it is.
right. And I don't think they would have to go through the school for that.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah,
Just
they would have to
just
go through the school for
just the
that.
generosity of that community that
Right,
should serve.
right. Just
Got
make your face, your name, your church name, let it let it remain a constant um, um, word within the community
That's
by them
excellent.
seeing what you're doing.
That's excellent.
Um, so schools will have lunches. Certain schools will provide lunches, where the students can go and pick up lunches and then and leave. And that has been going on since March.
Since March, yeah.
Since March, you could come and pick up lunch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You would get enough to carry you over to the weekend, and then come back on Monday to get the next
Yes.
part of the lunches. Where were we?
Any other ideas that the church can do? Yeah, because I think that's a great idea that we need to, we need to rethink how we serve. One of the things that we do is, we give food cards.
Mhm.
So we get a list of those people who we know in your community. Is coming from the school system. They give us a list of families that they know maybe on hard time. And so we provide food cards at food
Excellent
line.
idea.
Yeah, we give them food cards and say, look, I mean, because what can we do? We can't really take it. I guess we could feed them. You can come pick it up, but it would be better if I got you a little food card, $40, $50. You can at least go buy some canned goods that may
Mhm.
last you a couple of days versus that. I mean, we're just trying to think outside of the box. What else can we do in this particular time frame? I mean, masks are being already out. So maybe it is the feeding. I don't know what else we could do, but I know we need to do something, and I agree with you.
Well, and
Churches
but
need
that the food cart, I think is a great idea. So
Yeah.
for those people who don't feel comfortable going and feeding,
Yes.
that is another way, another avenue of making that happen. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, I just think that this is the opportunity for um, churches to be the hand of God, as my bishop says.
Yeah.
You know, and just work the community and show what Jesus Christ is all about.
Got you.
And with you showing what Jesus Christ is all about, that lets them know that your church is serious about what they're doing.
Right.
So I think this is it's just a perfect opportunity for us as a church to jump in, as the church to jump in and do what we need to do to reach the people.
And somebody wrote in here that if there is anyone that can deliver meals, one of their friends has secured meals and need help with delivery. So that's another way that we can, you can be helpful, at least delivering the meals. And so
Mhm.
that's an excellent thing, Tasha.
All it takes is a mask and gloves, and you cover yourself, and yeah, that's
Mask and
great.
gloves. I am
Mhm.
so grateful. You ain't even gonna believe it. You're not even gonna believe it. Like, we've been here an hour.
I know.
I,
It
we
went by. It feels like 10 minutes.
Man, it went by so fast because there is so, and I'm sure I was not able to ask, um, um, I was not able to ask all of the questions, but I am so grateful that you were able to give us some insight as to what we're going to experience coming up. our children really are important. And this pandemic and learning and teaching and all of that good stuff, um, it's going to be very important for families
Mhm.
and everybody to put their hands together during this particular time.
Yeah.
We are praying for the teachers. We are praying for the administrators. We thank you. I can tell you now, I thank you for the work that you did and that you're doing and that your teachers, because having to have been that person to monitor from March, plus working at home, but trying to be. Me and my daughter laughed. She said, "You're the principal, you're the teacher, you're the custodian, you're the cafeteria worker. Uh, you've been all those things." And so, come Father's Day next year, I expect a big gift, car or something, plane or something. Do something with your life.
A little car, one of those little toy cars.
I want a big one. Go into your piggy bank and get your car, something. uh, but I think it is so important. We are excited that we have people like yourself at the helm helping us navigate that. I'm grateful because we need that. A lot of times we are not great parents in that we come in and we just be rah, 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 this didn't happen. And it's because we don't have complete understanding.
Understanding, yeah.
Somebody there who would understand my situation, then I can approach it a little bit differently.
Right.
Um,
So, and I'll say this, Bishop Williams, if because I know that some parents don't feel comfortable talking to the administration at their school
right,
for whatever reason.
right.
If somebody has a question or something, feel free to call the school and call Walkertown High School and ask for me. I'll be happy to walk someone through as far as what you need. If they have questions, be able to walk them through the process of what they need to do.
Right.
To help. I'm open to helping not just the Walkertown community because that's where I work, but I'm offering to help anybody, all communities.
That is good. And I wanted to give you an opportunity if you wanted to, I don't know if you have social media stuff that you want people to, maybe they can contact you there more so than email addresses or something. So if they wanted to, send you a Facebook message or something, are you comfortable with giving out that information?
Yeah, as long as it's school related, don't be sending me nothing crazy. But
School related, man. School related. This is behind the veil. This is not that other stuff. This is the good people's. This is the good people. Uh, and so I know people think something wrong with me. Pray for me.
You and me both.
And so please give that out.
I'm on Facebook. I am Walter. It's a lot of Walter Johnsons, and people get us confused. It's a Walter Johnson in Greensboro that I know as well. But I am Walter M. Johnson Jr. on Facebook.
Walter M. Johnson Jr. on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you need that, just reach out to him if you have any questions and or concerns, things that I could not get to. But I think we've covered a lot of good information helping us because Monday is the day, if I'm not mistaken.
It is the day that the Lord has made.
Make sure you're prepared this weekend for your child. How important is it to have a desk set up? How important is it to have a central place that they're working? Feed into that just real quickly. How important is that?
So because everything is going to be virtual, the teachers one of the first things they're going to do is teach students how to put up a virtual background. Because we understand that every home situation might not be conducive to something that they want students to see. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
I don't want John to see Nancy's house and what's behind her house or what's crawling on the wall.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So the first thing that teachers should be doing during that first week is teaching those students how to change that background.
That is good. I hadn't even thought of that.
That is a big concern. So hopefully with teachers teaching that, and then for those parents whether whether your house is clean or whatever, still go ahead on and teach those parents who have knowledge of it. Go ahead and or aunties or uncles or cousins or whoever. Go ahead on and teach your loved ones how to do that
That's
on
good.
Zoom
That's
or
good.
Teams.
See, now that's something else. I hadn't even really thought about that, because kids, if they do that, kids still have a tendency to make fun of,
Right, right,
of things and situations. And so
right.
that's very important. So parents, for those of you who know, a little bit about Zoom, that's a great idea. Make sure you can if you, this is Tuesday, take some time and teach your child, put it on a computer and do something and teach them how to do those virtual backgrounds so that you can help the teacher out. We're going to have to do everything that we possibly can. I mean, hopefully my child will have this kind of background right here, but I'll be having lights and everything. She'll be having lights and cameras, and she won't be dark and lit off and
Uh,
all the things.
but again, to your point, parents, just make sure that your child has a space where they won't feel ashamed. They will feel comfortable sitting down and learning and listening to the teacher
Wow.
as best as they can.
You
Distractions, I know that might be hard, but try to keep the screaming and the hollering down. Shut the door so that child can focus during that time on that work. And it's all going to be a learning experience for everybody, because the students are not accustomed to this particular way of what we're doing now. So, after a couple of weeks, I think everybody will be on track.
now this is my final question.
Okay.
I think
All right.
I,
No.
as a pastor,
Huh?
right? Stay with me. I'm
Okay.
concerned that how we did church, we won't do it anymore. How are you as an administrator? Are you, I don't want to say concerned, but if we don't get a grip on this, because we're talking about flu coming up October, November, December, January, February, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get a grip on this, is this a new way of us having to do education in your mind?
I think it's a new way. It's stretching us to do what some colleges are already doing.
Right.
I think it just offers, eventually, my belief is that we will get back to the building.
Okay.
However, I think this just opens up opportunities for us just not to be set in mind to the brick and mortar.
I agree.
We can have classes here in the building, but we can also offer this particular program online, like some colleges are doing. I
Like
think
some
it's
colleges
just
are doing.
stretching us
Yeah.
to do more, to offer more
Yeah.
for those students who don't do well in the traditional setting.
Right.
Every child does not do well going into a building and going from class to class.
Right.
Some students flourish better virtually.
Some do.
Um,
And some flourish in the class. I get it. I mean,
right.
because by me working at a university, I'm gonna tell you what I won't do, what will not, which doesn't make sense to me anymore. There is no need for me to have a meeting with a professor. Zoom me.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we can share the document. I can see, you can see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm asking you to do. So those long meetings when I was meeting with my professors, at this point in my mind, something is triggered to say, even if I'm back in my office, meeting you doesn't make sense. I
Right.
need to be able to
Right.
set up a Zoom meeting with you where you and I both can focus, you and I both can. So that one-on-one thing that I used to think about all the time, in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, that to me is almost erased, because I'm like, I can have a virtual meeting with you and we can accomplish so much more
Mm-hmm.
if you are where you are and I'm where I am and we can see it. And that was the only reason
Yeah.
I was bringing that that thought, that I mean, I won't need to do a meeting that way anymore. I don't need.
I think with as far as the way that I see it, even if we are back in the building, I would probably have a mixture. This
Yeah,
meeting we're gonna meet in person. This meeting, oh, we can do it by Zoom. I think there will be some type of balance in there. It won't always be face to face.
got you.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. That is
Yeah,
all. That's a good thing. I
that's a
think it
good thing.
helps us.
Hmm.
I'm always supposed to be doing something. You get the final word of encouragement to us as parents
Oh,
and to us
me.
as because you're the administrator. I mean, you're on the other side, and anything that you can encourage us.
Yeah,
I want you to
I
know before you say something, we're praying for you. We
thank you.
thank God for you. We appreciate you and all that teachers, everything that you all are doing, because quiet as it is kept, and whether or not they pay you all enough money, you all are valuable to the development of our children. You have them longer than we do in the course of a day. And so, how you handle them, your influence, how you see it, what you look like, that is important to me. It is important that my daughter see a face like yours as a principal. And I'm in a, and I'm saying it because I know you, somebody who also believes like I believe
Hmm.
and love God and still love education. And so I just want to earnestly, and I want you to feel my heart, because I know they don't tell you all this. We really do appreciate the sacrifices that you make. And we thank God that you have chosen this particular purpose. And everybody is not the same, but
Right.
we sure do appreciate the ones who are good and who we know love the Lord like we love the Lord and love
Hmm.
our children and want them to succeed. I just wanted to give that shout out to you
Thank you.
and to all of the wonderful administrators and teachers. Everybody is not bad. Some of these people really are wanting your children to excel, and
That's
we
right.
have to pray as parents
Hmm.
to for their success and your health and your wealth. All right, that's my spiel.
So to parents, to students, grandparents, whoever it is, I encourage you to stay strong. Don't lose sight on the goal that we have. I know that you're probably scared or a little antsy about how it's going to be, but we number one, we're going to beat it. We're going to beat COVID. Number
Yes,
two, we're going to be successful. Your child will be successful. We just need you to do your part, and I'm believing God that you will. And as you do your part, we will meet you halfway, and we will come out on top of it. So just stay strong. If you have questions, contact your school, contact me, whoever it is. We can walk you through it. If you turn out to be start to get frustrated about things, step back, take a breath, and again, contact whoever you need to contact so that we can walk you through it. We understand that the frustration will come. Your child might even get frustrated at times, and that's okay. We will work through it. We will beat it. We will come out on top. So that's my word for the day.
I love it.
Keep pushing. Keep
Keep
moving.
pushing. Listen, I thank you, Walter M. Johnson Jr. We appreciate you. Thank you to your wife for giving that input. This is Behind the Veil. Look, it ain't no podcast like this podcast talking about the church and the needs of our family. You're going to know this next week, though. Guess what we're going to be talking about? We're going to be
What?
talking about how this pandemic is messing up the HBCU.
Man,
And
what you
what
talking about?
is happening with our HBCU, our historically Black colleges, Saints? We might have to chip in to help our school, because that's another thing,
Especially those private schools, HBCUs.
especially those private schools
Hmm.
with no homecomings. And baby, we got some stuff. So we're going to discuss that next week. I do want to thank my guest tonight for hanging out with me. I'm supposed to be going out with some song. I done picked a song that I don't even know. Let me see. It's Victory. I don't even know if we can hear the song. Uh, I guess it's coming on. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but I appreciate you, sir. I thank you. Um, um, and this is a song that's coming out on my new CD whenever I get that thing out, Jesus' name. But you said something. Y'all, we got victory over this. Hold your head up. We gonna conquer this whole thing.
Yeah.
Conquer Corona, COVID-19. And so you got victory. Hold their victory. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Stephen Williams. They called me the Good Bishop. Thank you to our guest, Walter M. Johnson Jr. And y'all pray, keep, wash your hands, wear your mask, and practice social distancing. And you're going to have victory when this is all over. We appreciate you and we love you. Y'all, we got to go. And I'm signing off from Facebook. Love you until our next appointed time. Blessings.